very good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome, or a very warm welcome, whatever time you're listening. If you're listening to this as a podcast, this is the Fallout Bar for the final time in 2022. And as you might be able to see, the bags under my eyes are growing by the day, but we are ready to go with yet another Fallout Bar, the final day of action then in 2022. Jonathan Eaton and Cam McFarlane alongside you to talk some darts and to talk about, in comparison, Cam, a very quiet day at the 2022-23 Kazoo World Darts Championship. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, lovely to see your face back on here. It's been some time. I can't remember the last time me and you did one of these together. It might actually have been in person at Milton Keynes. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a while. Today flattered to deceive a little bit, didn't it? I had a lot of close games in my predictions last night, and every single one of them was nowhere near.
To be fair, though, I without actually going into too much, I do think that we were due a down day, as it were, because the previous 3 days, particularly after Christmas, were full of such drama, such anticipation, such tension, and in a way, actually, such fantasticness that we were sort of due a down day. And I did fear that this would be quite a down day. And in comparison to the previous 3 days, that's what we got.
Yeah, as much as we might have been due one, we all like to believe that every day is going to be a wonderful day, and every day is going to be full of action. And there were moments. It wasn't bad by any means, but there just wasn't. There was not the jeopardy. There wasn't the drama. It never got that close in any of the games, which is what we've probably seen. Probably worse performances from people over the last few days than we've seen today. But because the matches were so close, it made it a much more entertaining watch.
Definitely. We will go through game by game in chronological order, as we like to do here on this show. Before we do, a very good evening to those in the chat room already. Daniel's in, Tommy Tornado, very good evening to you. Nels is here, Jack Nolte, Lee Seymour, all already in the chat room nice and early. If you want to get a mention here on the Fallout Bar, may not get Fallout Bar, can get yourself in the chat room right now, and we will say hello to you throughout the evening and get your comments involved. And if you listen to this as a podcast, remember you can join us live after each session every night or day or afternoon or morning, whatever time it is you're listening in the world or watching on YouTube. You can join us straight after play, so make sure that you do it here at Online Darts YouTube channel. Good evening, Preston, as well. Okay, let's go through this chronologically then today. And it feels like probably 3 days ago rather than a few hours ago, Dimitri Vandenberg against Kim Huybrechts in a Belgian World Cup clash. And I have to be honest, in my heart of hearts, I was trying to make this out to be a great game, but I really couldn't see anything other than a Dimitri Vandenberg comfortable win. And I was proven right. Kim did not hit any heights, certainly not the heights that he hit against Peter Snakebite Wright to knock out the defending world champion. And Dimitri Vandenberg, who has had a quiet year by his standards, is starting to enjoy the Ali Pali stage again.
Yeah, he's warming up a little bit, isn't he? You're clearly a better judge than me, because I picked him to win this last night. And I did say before I picked it that it was definitely heart over head. But yeah, Dimmy just kept him at arm's length. He didn't do anything spectacular. It was just steady darts and just never really let him get into the game. Kim will probably be a bit disappointed. He was miles off it, to be fair. And there's not really a lot more to say about this match. There was never at any point at the moment where you thought that Kim might kind of turn it around. And Dimmy just gave him the old, I am the captain now. So looked at him and went, look at me. It's not you anymore, it's me. And that's...
I think going on from that point, I think the 11 darter to start the game from Dimmy, and that was to break through as well, just kind of really set the tone. And as you say, there wasn't any point in that game did I ever think that Dimitri Vandenberg wasn't going to win. The only question was whether it going to be 4-0 or 4-1. And realistically, Kim, I don't think ever did enough to win a set. Dimmy was just very comfortable. He made a 95 average at like an 80. It was very pedestrian.
Yeah.
But that is a credit to him for how well he played.
Yeah, he did. He missed one dart, didn't he, I think, in set 2 to win that one. But that was really the only opportunity. And you weren't particularly confident as he came to it last dart in hand that he was going to take it. And straight after that, Dimmy steps up and takes out first dart to sitting there on 16. So, yeah, I think that was probably the only point. Maybe if it goes to 1-1 there, something might have ignited. But, yeah, it didn't ever look likely.
Before we touch on Dimmy a little bit more, we'll touch on him in a second. A word on Kim. Hasn't been his greatest of years. Hasn't really performed that great on the TV. Yes, getting to a World Cup quarter-final, but first round, second round exits at a lot of events. But in reality, when you look at it, in comparison to what he was defending at the World Championship, he was actually better. He was defending a third round and he's got to the fourth. So he's kept himself in that top 32, which is crucial. But can he get back to those heights that we saw of him back in 2014, 15 and start pushing towards that top 16, being able to qualify for every event?
I'm not sure. I really want to say yes. I love myself a bit. Sorry, I am ill and I am struggling with my voice. I do love myself a bit of Kim Huybrechts, and I'd love to see him up there in every event. I mean, you see what he does on the big stage. I mean, he always does all right here at the Worlds when it's the important stage. I mean, he's the only man to twice whitewash anyone on this stage in legs, and we know what he can do, especially when he's fired up and he's into it. But we don't see it enough over the year, and I'm just not sure, away from the big TV cameras, that there's quite the same drive and motivation that we see when it really matters.
I do wonder if Belgium do win a World Cup in the next couple of years, will that be the moment where Kim goes, do you know what? I don't need to do anything more now.
Yeah, I've done it, yeah. Like, maybe.
But touching on the Dream Maker, I still vividly remember in 2017-18 when Cross won his World Championship, after watching him in the Players' Championship in the World Youth Final that year, watching him against Josh Payne, if memory serves me correctly, falling in love with the Dream Maker. And I'll make no bones about that. He's now back into a quarterfinal stage, and he played Rob Cross in that World Championship quarterfinal the first time he made it. Even though he's had a quiet year by his standards, he's picked up a couple of titles, made a world on the World Series, won the match play, made the World Match Play semi-final. I've never seen him more ready to potentially go and win a World Championship. And I'm not being funny. That game between himself and Johnny Clayton, that's going to be in the quarterfinal now, that to me also not just goes into a World Championship semi-final, which both are looking to make for the first time. That could be a massive, massive factor in who joins the travelling circus next February.
Yeah, it could be. Could be massive for that. But yeah, like you say, it's a real big opportunity for either of those two, to be honest, because you look at, next they've got either Michael or Chris Dobey, who, I mean, again, was quite impressive today. But as much as Michael's played well so far, somehow still always looks beatable. Even when even against Mensa the other day, when he averaged 111 for the most of the game, it dropped off to 108 at the end, but he still looked like you could get at him. And either of those two will be fancying it, especially if they can carry on being as clinical on the outer ring as both of them have been so far as well. Well,
let's hear then from Dimitri Vandenberg. He was the first man through on Friday's action. He just went through into the quarterfinals. He played Johnny Clayton. Here's what he had to say.
No. Premier League itself is an incredible, beautiful tournament to be part of. And just think about it. They've turned it in from 10 players to 8 players. So whoever is picked for this tournament, yeah, I say they deserved it because it's so difficult to get in. But then again, never look further than what's in front of you. So the next game for me is the quarterfinals. I've had a good year. I didn't have a bad year. Pro Tours, European Tours, the best so far I've ever played in my career. Quarterfinal, semi-final in the majors. Yeah, step by step. Don't look ahead. Don't rush ahead. Look to my little daughter. She first has to learn to stand up before she can learn herself to walk around on two legs. I've got to do the same thing. Never rush ahead. step by step.
It's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah. Do you know, I was just, you could see me in the back end there, Cam, and going like, wow, actually, he's talking sense. He is. And I'm amazed that he said that was that this year's been the best year of his career, when in 2020, he made a Grand Slam semi-final and won the World Match Play.
Yeah.
But there we go. Right. We will talk a little bit more about that quarterfinal later on. A very good evening to Jamie, to HGV, to Tommy Tornado. Says, are we going to take us into New Year's Eve? Well, we're hopefully not, but we will. But we'll see how we go on this thing. We'll see how we go. G's Adventures. Yes. Good evening. How are we, mate? Good to see you again. And yes, there's. Well, I don't think it is a horrible analogy, to be fair, Rainder, because I think that what he's making the point of is that he's got to learn that he's got to realise that it doesn't matter what you've got to try and do. What's in front of you is the most important thing to achieve right now, and what he's trying to achieve is his first ever World semi-final.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on and talk about the second game of the day, which was a history-making day for Germany. Apparently, 1.4 million people were watching in Germany. Gabriel Clemens beat Jim Williams 4-3. I imagine the viewing figures might be a little bit more going into New Year's Day, especially as it's on prime time in Germany, 8:30 Central European time. I thought coming into this game that this would go 5 set, it'd be deciding leg after deciding leg. And I said Alan Suter would come out on the right side of it. That is probably the most complete performance on television that I have seen from Gabe Clemens. And the only reason why it was 4-1 rather than 4-0 is because he lost it on the outer ring in the second set.
Yeah, that is literally it. You're absolutely spot on. I mean, that 1.4 million viewing figures in Germany, I think most of them have been in the arena this week, to be honest. Yeah. Every game's been a home game for him, which must be helping. I mean, it must be good for him to be standing up there and having the support of the majority of the crowd every day. But yeah, it's been really impressive, and Al from Al's Toy Barn looks a danger to anyone.
I now can't unsee this, by the way. I now cannot unsee this.
You will never. We should have the GIF ready, like just to rock it up at this point. But yeah, he's been really impressive all the way through, and we know at some point he always has a little dip, and we've seen that from him over the years, and he will fall off for a little bit in a match. But he's playing well enough that fall off is a lot less than it has been, and also it's not over as long a period, and then he's bouncing back and he's playing back at his better level again, and I was really impressed again. Like I, same as you, had Suter nicking this one in a 4-3, and I thought it was going to be really tight, but I thought if they get embroiled in a battle, Suter will do it, but no. Al got it over the line, and very, very comfortably in the end.
I'm sorry, I was just laughing at the fact that I've been called Steve Beaton of online darts. This is late night eating. It's late night eating, not late night beating anymore, everybody. Yeah, Gob was. Oh, good evening, Gob. How are you, mate? Hope you had your day well. He said, "When did someone good looking get to host?" I don't know who you're watching. I don't know if you can see the dog.
Well, he actually said "God looking," which is.
Well, I've got a dog next to me.
Maybe he thinks you look that old.
Well, probably, yeah. I feel it at the moment. Let me tell you that for nothing. Coming out of the back end of this World Championship, we'll come back to Gabe a little bit in a moment, actually, because it's a seismic moment for German darts. But I want to touch on Alan Suter, if I may. Another fantastic performance on the early Palisades. Reached the fourth round last year, reaches the fourth round this year, and crucially for him, he finishes inside the world's top 32 after 2 years. So he's got that brilliant platform now and a springboard to try and potentially get into that last 16. Yes, he's got 45, first part of 45 grand to defend at the World Championships over the next 2 years each year. But that's a fantastic springboard for a man who no one really expected to go and do this well over his previous 2 years.
No, exactly that. And yeah, okay, it's quite a lot to defend over the next couple of years, but he clearly enjoys it up in this stage. He clearly enjoys set play because he can drag someone into a battle a little bit more in set play than you can in leg play, and you can be down in legs but still be level or ahead in the match. And I think that suits him and it suits his game. And he's doing all this while he's still a firefighter, if you didn't know.
Does he also help guide dogs as well?
I think he does, yeah. I've heard that as well. And he also, I think he did the night shift on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Well, comms haven't mentioned that over the last few days. Also, we'll move off suits if we can. But obviously, Alan, if you're watching, I don't know if you are, but if you are, you're welcome on this program anytime. You're literally the nicest human being in the world. Seismic moment, as we say, for German darts. This Clemens getting over the line and getting into a world quarterfinal. That we always thought that Maxi Hott would be the German darts torchbearer. It ain't that anymore. And the PDC have wanted Germany to grow in this sport. I think that's quite an obvious statement to make with the amount of Euro tours that are there, the World Cups there every pissing year. What my point is this though, is the fact that now that they've made now he's made a quarterfinal. If he were to go and beat the world number one, that could just take him not just into the stratosphere, into the darting world, but it would open the PDC up to a brand new market at this point. Spoiler alert, I should stress this, I don't think he will. However, moving into a quarterfinal where it's going to be at 8:30 on New Year's Day, prime time in Germany, could be 2.5 million watching this.
Yeah, at least, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, yeah, they clearly, I think it's something like over a third of the Pro Tours, the Euro Tours next year are in Germany.
13, so over half, I think.
Yeah, and then you've got, obviously, like you say, you've got the World Cup there as well, which is it Dortmund this year? Which I definitely...
I think it's still in Frankfurt. And then you got the European Championship in Dortmund.
Oh, European Championships is Dortmund, sorry, yeah.
And the Premier League night in Berlin as well.
Yeah, it's a huge market. I mean, we know how much... Look how many have been there this week. So we know it's a huge market. And like I say, we expected it to Max Hott. Max Hott now got a big battle on to try and get his tour card back. But Gabe is flying, and yeah, I don't think he wins either. But we completely ruined our predictions already. We've gone too early, but nothing unusual there.
It's still a seismic moment, and let's hear from Clemens, who set up a quarterfinal showdown with the Gerwen prize after a very comfortable win against Alan City.
Maybe it's of course it's a big thing for me, and now I'm in the quarterfinals of the Worlds. That's it's good. Yeah, of course. It's nice to see young people go to darts and play more darts, and that's nice.
Obviously, it's a family time of year at the moment, Christmas and New Year. But all those German fans that travel to the UK to watch you play, that must give you so much confidence.
Definitely, it's amazing how many Germans here in the crowd, and they come to look me, and it's amazing.
I think he's very happy about the fact that a lot of Germans are there. Quickly, just very, very quickly from Preston, William Hill background. Yes, we need to change that now that we've got photos of the Will Hill background has gone. As Cam has just left us, which is a bit of a shame. As soon as he gets back in, I will bring him back into the stream. Here he is. Hope he's all good.
Apologies. My never ever happens. My internet's just dropped out. So I've just had to log in on my phone.
Well, don't worry about it. You're fine. We're back with you, and that's always good. Right, let's move on to game number 3, which I thought could be the game of the day. I thought this could go 7 sets. I expected a Vandenberg to Ross Smith. We didn't get that. What I think we did get of this game today between Michael Smith and Joe Cullen, that Michael Smith won 4-1, is that Michael Smith, now he's got the monkey off his back, looks very, very bloody good.
Yes, he does. And he looks just untroubled by everything, really. He just looks a little bit cooler and a little bit calmer up there. And I think he said it on his Instagram earlier in reply to what Joe put up about sort of his performance, and said there was one moment, which was a double 10 to win a set, that kind of changed everything. And it could have been a lot closer than it was, but Smith, once he got out in front, just ran away with it, really, and Joe just couldn't quite stick with him. Joe probably didn't play as well as we know he can. I mean, we've seen some unbelievable performances from him up on that stage, and on others, but he probably wasn't quite at his best. But he would have had to be really, really good to beat Michael Smith today.
Yeah, I don't dispute that. I think Cullen and Smith have met so many times that time now on TV, especially this year, that it's starting to develop into a little bit of a rivalry. I don't know. But this is the first time I've looked at this game and gone, well, I had Cullen coming out of the top half of the draw. That's why I went Cullen in this game. Although my head was definitely saying Michael Smith should win this game. And he not only won it, he absolutely obliterated Cullen. Cullen won't be disheartened, I don't think, on this one. I don't think that it completely ruins his Premier League chances because, of course, he was a dart away from winning it on his debut year. But that one will hurt, I think, the Rockstar a little bit.
Yeah, I think it will. Like you say, I don't think anyone that makes the final the year before shouldn't be in it the year afterwards. I don't think it should hurt his chances whatsoever. Like you say, he was a dart away from winning it, which would have guaranteed him it. I don't think that should put you out the year afterwards. And I mean, he's the perfect man for the travelling circus as well, because he's a good guy. He's really marketable. He's enjoyable to watch. He plays at a good pace. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't have him in there anyway, but that's a conversation for another day.
Well. As well, the walk-on song as well.
Love a bit of Oasis.
We'll touch off Joe Cullen a little bit and move back onto Michael Smith. I can't believe I'm uttering these words, but because if you'd have told me this 6 months ago, I'd have gone, you're ludicrous. But 4 finals this year, one of them that he's got over the line and got the big TV title and got the monkey off his back. Is he the biggest danger to the other Michael now? Because Gezi has never looked comfortable throughout this entire tournament. And Michael Smith, the game that convinced me that he can go and win the World Championship was not this one, it was last one. Because 18 months ago, he'd lost that game 4-1.
Yeah, of course he would. I mean, like it felt like every leg we were seeing Schindler's Fist at the end of it, like just giving it. So.
Don't take that one off the DVD. That's on the top shelf, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
Sorry,
yeah,
God.
Yeah, that was what it felt like, though. Every leg, it felt almost that he was winning, but somehow we still came through that and won it. And yeah, I think we underestimate sometimes with how much we've gone on and people have said about Michael Smith and not winning things. I mean, we underestimate how good you have to be to consistently make finals in the PDC. Like, and whether you get over the line or not, you're still playing at a hell of a level to get there. And now he's actually won one as well. I mean, I always thought he was the biggest danger to Michael in this tournament. Anyway, I picked him to win it and beat Michael in the final. So that was kind of where I was at. I do think Gezi's still a danger, though. I actually sort of think he's more of a danger now than I did beforehand, because he's played nowhere near his best, but he's comfortably beating everyone. And I think that's a better position to be in than someone that's absolutely rolling off big averages but still getting embroiled.
Well, we're going to hear from Michael Smith now after his game against Joe Cullen and see if he thinks that he's the favourite now to go and lift the Super Dell trophy.
Michael's the red hot favourite, and is always going to be, even if he's had a poor year. I don't mean this year, but even if he had a poor year, he'd still be red hot favourite. Either there's me, Gez, and Michael left. Whoever wins, you're world number one, you're the best player in the world, your favourite. I just want to come in, I just want to play the best players, because it shows where you've come. I don't want my first year, the first time I've reached the World Final, I played John Henderson second round, didn't play a seed then until the final, which was Michael. I want to play the best players, I want to beat the best players, and I want to show them the games come, so I just want to keep going now. And even when I got the bug, it was like, the only thing I want to do is be world champion. If you get world champion, you complete something every night. Even now at 32, I practice all the time and phone for like, I've got 100 left, if you hit this, you're going to be world champion. I've got 102, if you hit this, 170. I keep telling myself, every time you hit it, you'll be world champion. I was like drilling it in myself. So yeah, just everything I'm doing is for that one thing. And if I don't win on the first, I know on the second when I go home I'm going to practice. That's what I was practice my ass off and come back for the next one and keep working as hard as I can.
The mentality change in Michael Smith is ridiculous, because after that UK Open final, in particular, when he didn't particularly do great against Danny Noppert, you'd think on that aspect of it, you'd really think that he could have done a Terry Jenkins then and just never ever got over the line. But the fact that he made it, that he got back to finals and now he's won one. I have never heard Buddy Boy sound this relaxed, and a relaxed Michael Smith at a quarterfinal of a world is dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. Like you say, it would have been so easy for him to have, like you say, I mean, that was the one that everyone looked at and said he should have won. I mean, Danny didn't play particularly well and won that game. And then he came back, made another one, played unbelievably well, and got beat off Ross Smith. And you think, right, is it ever going to happen? And then he then made another one, won it, and now he's here. And I mean, the guy just looks comfortable, and he looks like he's made for it.
Move on then to the evening session in just a moment. A very warm welcome though to everyone else who's still joining us in the chat room. Hello, Rose. Hope you're doing all good. Hello, Excalibur. Hope that everyone else in the chat room is having a lovely Friday evening. Don't forget you can get involved right now by just putting a comment. We will put your comments up around the predictions a little bit later on as well, so we'll make sure that you get that there for you. Moving on then to the evening session, and yeah, I'll call this an upset. I don't mind saying this, because Rob Cross seemed to be getting back to the form where he won the World Championships in 2018, although he wasn't surviving match darts like he was in every other bloody round, it felt like, for him. But it looked like he just folded a little bit under the pressure. Chris Dobey has now knocked out 2 world champs in the back end of these last events. He knocked out Gary Anderson in round 3, now Rob Cross in round 4, and he's got an opportunity to knock out another world champion in the quarterfinals. This is a very good run for Dobes.
Very, very good run for Dobey. Yeah, I thought Rob started really well in this game. And like you say, it was just that moment when I'm struggling slightly here, because now I've had to switch to my phone because I don't make any notes in paper format. Everything's on my phone, as are the stats. I've now got nothing to go off, but pretty sure there was a moment where he could have gone 3-1 up.
I think he did. Yeah, I think he missed a dart. No, he didn't. He didn't ever get set 4 darts, but I'm pretty sure he didn't. Anyway, no,
maybe not. But it felt like he had an opportunity at that point to get ahead, and then when Dobey levelled, and then through a really good set in set 5 to get in front for the first time, you kind of thought, he's in trouble here now. From looking really comfortable in the first couple of sets, he's right in bother now, and then Dobey served it out really nicely after that.
Just a quick one as well. Good evening, Mr. Bars. I know what you're talking about on the 9-1. We will come on to him in just a little bit. A word on Cross, though, if I may. I actually think he's had a very, very solid year, actually, Rob Cross. I think there's been times where he's got somewhere back to his best. He's obviously got up to world number 6 now. And, of course, next year he's defending the big one in that sense of the European Championship that's on his ranking. But, you know, he didn't do too badly. He made runners-up at the Players' Championship finals, another 3rd round here at the Worlds. As I've always said before, he almost won the match play and the Worlds too early in his career, and now we're starting to see a little bit more that's available on that one. He's obviously going to Bahrain for the world for the Bahrain Darts Masters. I don't see the PDC picking him for the Premier League, unfortunately for him, but for world number 6 now, Voltage has got an opportunity this year to try and make sure that he stays around that top 5 and top 8 to make sure that he gets decent draws going into the next few tournaments.
Yeah, he has. I think he's had a really good year. We've seen him a real resurgence from him this year, and back to something of what you would call his best. Maybe not quite. He hasn't looked like he's quite got that very top year that he had when he went and won the Worlds, but he looks right near to it, and like it's really close. Like you say, I think the Premier League's gone for him now. I think he probably had to at least make the final, if not win this event, if he was going to get a chance. But according to Scott Williams, he was turning it down anyway, so it didn't really matter whether he got it or not. So I suppose that one is what it is. But yeah, I think for him now, he's going to miss that next year. But that might be a good thing, the way he's playing, and to not have to deal with that week in, week out, and be able to focus on the events that he's going to have good draws in, and he's going to be involved in and go deep in. I think it could be a really good thing for him. I think we could see a big year from him next year.
Yeah, but Chris Dobey, I mean, finally got over the hump in sense of getting into that World quarterfinal for the first time. He's now up to number 20 in the world. If you were to win that quarterfinal, which is going to be quite difficult, there's no doubt about that. But if you were to win that quarterfinal, he would break the top 16 for the first time ever as well. So a huge moment here for Chris. Again, it seems like he's gone really through that process. You know, a couple of Pro Tours over the last couple of years. He's got there. He's now starting to get on the Euro Tour a bit more regularly. He's making big semi-finals and big tournaments again. You know, he's already done it at the Players' Championship, done it at the World Grand Prix. He's starting to get consistency in his game. He's been talked about for a while now as someone who might be able to finally break through into this game, and he's showing it on the biggest stage of all.
He is, yeah, and we know he's got unbelievable scoring power. Like, he's as good as anyone when that first dart lands. Following it, that final set and the final leg or the second to last leg where he went. No, final leg, wasn't it? Where he went 1-3-4, 1-3-4, 1-3-3 to leave 100 after 9. It was just so good. Like, straight away, the switch down, good first dart, follow it with the second one, but now he's starting to add the bit where he looks like he can get it done on the outer ring as well when it matters, and that is a worry for everybody, because if he can put the two together, you ain't beating him.
You could be ending up with a new world champion. Well, let's just say that he's only 3 games away from doing it. But the big thing for him is to get him into the quarterfinals. The first time ever Chris Dobey is there. And this is what he had to say afterwards.
Oh, it'll be unreal. Obviously, I've had dreams about it for many times. Obviously, not even about the trophy, just taking it around St James's Park. That'll be unreal. Obviously, missing the game tomorrow night now, but hey, if I'm lifting that trophy at the end, at the start of the new year, I'll be happy. Yeah, I'll message does that straight away. But no, I still keep in touch with all them. Every day, the messages go off. We'll rinse each other, but hey, it's good fun. It's just nice to have those people. Obviously, what Glenn done in the game. Obviously, joining the likes of Cullen, Ryan, and Glenn in the quarterfinals as well. They've done it before, and I could never get over that hurdle. So, like I said, getting over that hurdle to be amongst them lads, it's mint. Yeah, of course. Obviously, that was the last time I played him. So, if it is Michael, I won the last one. And as people say, you're only as good as your last game.
They certainly do, Chris, as Cam's now rejoined us back from his old position, which is lovely. Right, let's move on.
A little bit better. I can actually now look back at my notes as well, which is nice.
Very good. We'd love to see that. Let's talk then about the game. What was billed as the game of the day? It wasn't really, I don't think. I can't really claim any of them really to be game of the day. They were all a bit there, a bit most of the time. It was felt like after the Lord Mayor's show a little bit. But this is touted as a game of the day. I've got to say, from both players, it's sort of disappointed, really. But the thing is, though, for Dirk in particular, when you have what is the game of the tournament, in my opinion, the second best game to ever be played on the Ali Pali stage behind that semi-final between Cross and Van Gerwen, anything afterwards that doesn't go 7 sets and doesn't hit 35 180s between the pair and have more drama is going to be rubbish. But not rubbish. Well, rubbish in comparison, I should stress.
Yeah, we're saying rubbish. I mean, Michael's averaged 100, but we were discussing this. Myself and Paul Sandbrook, who's probably in the chat somewhere. He's sat in the sports room at the moment, watching and listening to me as we break in our game of darts that we were having. But we were discussing this about Michael and the fact that 100 average from him is poor because he throws so many 10, 11 and 12 darters that in between that, it's not so good. And he misses a lot of doubles and he doesn't score as well. But he will still always be around that sort of 100, 102 average because of how good the other legs are. And because he's such a high standard at those, he can then afford to throw 17, 18s, 20s and still be at that level. And that's why he always looks beatable, even when he's throwing at such a high average. And why, for a moment, when Dirk got it back to 2-1, it looked like he could get back into this and was close to actually levelling until he fell apart in that deciding leg in the fourth set.
The big thing for me is the darting percentage on the checkout. 7 of 24 for Dirk. And he missed so many darts in those first two sets in particular, which in the end, MBG won. You cannot give MBG chances like that. A word on Dirk, though. It's another tournament where he's flattered to deceive a little bit. And I love me the Aubergenius. Love me some Titan. Love everything about him. But this is why everybody who says get him in the Premier League, this is why he's not a PL player just yet. He still can't get over the line in big occasions very often. Appreciate what happened in between Ross Smith. I get that. But the World Series of Darts finals, okay, the game against Ryan Searle, which is also another candidate for Match of the Year. I just don't think in the pressure cooker, in the proper pressure cooker, he'd be there. And, do I think he'll win a TV title? Yes, I do. But he's not ready just yet. I don't think he'll take that next step. Although he's ended the year world number 13, which is a very good achievement for him.
Yeah, it's impressive from him, and but I do agree with you. We see it in flashes, and we don't see it for long enough. Like, the 170 was magic. There were some of the scoring was magic. It wasn't up there with how we know he can score and how he did against Ross, but we know what he's got in his locker. I mean, that game against Ross was unbelievable, but yes, he got over the line in one finally, but at the end of the day, it was a third round game. It's not in that much, is it? Like, you're not getting over the line in a big one. And it's close, and I do think it is close, but the composure when he needs it is just still not quite there for me. But I do think it will come, and I think within the next year or two, we're going to see it, and he's going to win something big. But yeah, I want him in the Premier League because honestly, I don't want any of the top players in the Premier League. I want people that are just entertaining and fun. Do away with your Peter Wrights and Gezzies, and let's have like Dirk and Ross Smith and Cullen and Smith and Humphries, and let's just have people that are just fun and Josh Rock, are just going at it week in, week out, rather than making it into something about the best in the world. Make it the next one's coming up.
Well, I'm sure we can have that conversation on the live lounge on Wednesday, the 4th of January, with Phil Bars, Jack Garwood, and Lee Boyce. Mervyn, James Wade, absolutely no chance in my Premier League lineup. I should stress.
Never, ever.
Let's go back to the Worlds, though, and let's talk about the Green Machine. The only man to average 100 in all three games in his so far in this tournament. I called it probably from July as soon as he won the match play. I lumped on 50 quid at 4-1 with our sponsors, actually, with Betfred. So gamble responsibly, everybody. Of course, I'm going to take them to the cleaners if that comes in. Premier League, World Match Play, Grand Prix, Players' Championship. He's not at 16 level, but he's at 17, 18, 19 level. I genuinely don't see how... I mean, like I said, he made a 100 average look pedestrian tonight. I don't see how... I know he's there to be beaten, but he's barely played his C game tonight and he's won 4-1. I don't see how he gets beat, personally.
See, I do think he gets beat. And I think if you can average 100, 102 against him, but consistently, not the way he does it, going up, down, up, down, up, down to end up at that level where he's one leg he's averaging 130 and the next leg he's averaging 80. If you can just consistently be at that level, someone like Michael Smith, who will do it consistently throughout, or Gezi, if he's playing somewhere up near his best, not what we've seen from him so far, but what we know he can get to, then I think he is very beatable, because you do get opportunities, and he will miss doubles. He's not the most clinical on the outer ring, and I think you can get at him. And I think that I think he goes to the final, but I think that is where Michael Smith will beat him as we go along, because I think he will just slightly out double him, which you wouldn't say about Michael Smith maybe a year ago.
Wouldn't say about 6 months ago.
But I think he will, and I think, well, he has done this year on tour.
I still can't see anybody touching him, but I can't now see anything else other than a Michael v. Michael final. That's where I do generally think we can all agree on this one. But let's let's hear from, I should say. I wish we could talk to Michael Van Gerwen, but unfortunately...
It'd be great, wouldn't it? Because he's just dropping in at the bottom.
It'd be lovely if he was here, but he's not. But he did speak to the media after his game, and this is what he had to say.
Was it obvious? Was it? No, he was trying a little bit, but yeah, I forgive him for that.
Is it nice that players have resorted back to that kind of thing to try and beat
If people try to do things to slow me down, things like to beat me, I know I already got them in my pocket. So better they just keep playing their own game. Because if they don't play their own game, they never can beat me anyway.
I love it when confident MVG
yeah.
darting dark arts are back up on stage. Here we go.
I do think though, like, he is right, and I've said this all year. You can't try and slow him down because it doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't run up to the hockey anyway. He gets there when he's ready to get there, and then the tempo of his throw is always the same anyway. So it doesn't matter if you try and slow him down, because once he gets to the hockey, he's still going to throw at the same tempo, and the darts are going to come out the same anyway. So there's no point trying to do that. Just focus on your own game, and that's what it was great to see meant to do the other night, and actually just play his own game and play the best we've ever seen him play probably on any TV stage, to be honest.
Apart from maybe that Champions League of darts, but certainly in a ranking
Yeah.
event, I totally agree with you on that. What I find interesting as well, by the way, is that he called out Cross in his Sky interview and said that he collapsed. And you didn't hear this much from MVG before he started getting back towards somewhere near his best. So he feels it. He knows that everybody else on the rest of the field is looking very, very closely indeed. And remember, of course, everyone, that if he does win this tournament, he will be the world number one again, and he will be 1-1 by a clear £200,000. So the next time, realistically, that Peter Wright's going to get a chance to get at him, and will take it close to the world number one spot, is the world match play. So very, very important. Remember, if Pete Wright had actually gone further in this tournament, Gezi Price would have lost the world number one slot by if it had gone to the fourth round. So it's quite interesting on that one. But that's another issue for another time. We've got to move on and talk about our final game in 2022, which sounds very weird to say, to be honest. Luke Humphries against Stephen Bunting. This game, I didn't expect the result of this at all. Luke has been struggling with illness. We know this. But even so, the resurgence of Stephen Bunting. Let's go Bunting mental, everybody. He is back, and he's in a World Championship quarter-final for the first time in 2 years. Of course, we made the semi-final against Gerwen Price 2 years ago in the COVID Worlds. He looked really good. I know that's a very simple statement, but I think that's the right thing to say. He just looked really good. It averaged nearly a ton.
Yeah. That's 2 games in a row where he's looked absolutely brilliant. The 140 hitting is just phenomenal. Like, I think now, if I'm right from the other day, I think it was 26 against Chizzy and he's at 19. So he's hit 45 140s over his last 2 games, along with a bunch of 180s as well. And he just looks very difficult to beat. And the bullet is firing, and we maybe shouldn't say that in Liverpool at the moment, but we're get down a path there.
Let's get out of that one quick.
Quick, let's move on.
Yeah.
The Tom Pussies as well. Tom Pussies from him as well. He don't look like missing. I mean, he was nearly 50% on his doubles today anyway, but there were 3 big finishes in there. And I wouldn't want to play him. I would not want to play him at all right now.
I'll tell you what was really, really quickly, just what I really was impressed by when I thought he's got this game in the bag, and this was in the second set when Humphries was averaging mid-80s. When he went for the 1-2-7 in game, when he didn't need to, Luke was on like 350 points still, and he took the 1-2-7 in game out on the ball, and he didn't need to. And I just thought, wow, that's a bloke who feels so confident that he's going to go on and win this game, and he did.
Yeah, and that was literally it. He thought, well, I might as well go for it because I'm going to hit it anyway. And if I don't hit it, I'll take out the 25 because he took that out about 4 times as well in this match. So he's just not bothered. I'll just go for it, and it's going to go.
Before we move on to hear from the Bullet, a word on Luke, who's had a phenomenal year. There's no doubt about that. 4 Euro Tour victories. The only thing, and it means a World Youth Champion. He's won multiple Pro Tour titles as well this year. The only thing missing now on the TV, there's 2 things missing. There's the big TV title and obviously the star on the shirt. Now, I never thought that Luke was a serious threat. I'll be honest with you. In this World Championship, I thought that second quarter of the draw was he just wasn't going to get past Michael Smith or Joe Cullen, whichever one of the 2 would get out of there. Yeah. But I'll say this to him: semi-finals of the Players' Championship. I believe memory serves me correctly. Well, he made the semi-finals of the Slam as well. He's already made a UK Open final a couple of years back when he lost to James Wade. There's no doubt that Coolhand is really I mean, he's made a quarterfinal as well at the Euros as well. So quarterfinal, semi-final in his last 3 TV ranking events. He's now world number 5. He will be, unless something ridiculous happens. Obviously, him and Cross could be quite close to himself and Cross, but he could be part of the World Cup pairing as well next year. Coolhand is on the rise. There's no doubt about that. It's just, I've got to say, it's just a matter of when, not if. He does get at least get the TV title checked off.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's too good not to. Thanks for bringing up the UK Open final again, where I had him at 100-1 each way for that tournament.
I had Wadey at 33.
Humphries at 100-1 each way. Obviously, I still won, but yeah, if he'd won the tournament, it would have been a much better result.
I had Wadey's at 33s, mate, so I'll take that any day of the week.
Know, you made me aware at the time. No need to bring you back up again.
There is. Let me tell you, because my betting at the minute is so poor, especially on the nags. But that's another issue for the time.
I've given up.
Yeah.
I've fully given up. My betting accounts have been closed. Yeah, I mean, it is a matter of when and not if for me. I think he is just too good, and when he is really at it, then I think we will. It's the speed he plays at as well. Games get away from you in no time. You lose a couple of legs, and all of a sudden you're miles behind without even realising. But not today, and I think this was a big moment for Stephen Bunting, and he always does well up on this stage. Well, not always, but a lot of the time he performs well up on here, and he will be tough for Michael Smith. But as I'm going to give Paul Sandberg a little shout out because he is sat in the other room, he did only take out 1-2-7 his highest checkout. Paul did take out 1-3-3 against me earlier, and he wants a shout for it. So it was a very good 1-3-3 as well. All 3 of them were bang in the middle. It was still only for about a 33 dart leg, but
that's how it works. But Stephen Bunting is now back up to world number 24 with that victory. He could actually go up to world number 19 if he were to go on and win this quarterfinal. We will touch more about Stephen Bunting and Michael Smith in a second when we preview all the quarterfinals, but let's hear it from the Bullet in his press conference.
I don't want to relax, to be honest. I want the best players in the world. I want to prove myself as being one of the best players in the world. I know I am. I know I've put the effort in this year. Sometimes in the past I can have been accused of being a lazy dart player, sitting on me butt playing the PlayStation a lot. I'm really good at FIFA now, but it's time to man up. It's time to become a proper dart player again, and yeah, I love it. And when you look back in the crowd's all on my back. I look back in my corner, I've got my son there cheering me on, my missus, I've got my manager as well, and that, listen, I play for them as well as myself.
He sounds very relaxed, and I'd like to challenge him to a game of FIFA actually, because I've got FIFA finally for Christmas, so I'm very excited to be playing that a little bit later on.
Yeah, I've not played it for about 3 years, but
quickly, just a quick one as well. A very good evening to Mr. Chris Mason in the chat room. By the way, I'm not just saying this because he's in the chat room. I've told him this for quite a while. If you don't have Sky, or if you can't watch it, or if you need to follow it, it shouldn't work. But let me tell you, it bloody does. Darts on the radio on TalkSport 2, an excellent listen, especially when I've been walking the dog recently. In the afternoons, having that in the car, having that in the ear on the AirPods with Chris and Nico, Ian Danter, Mark Wilson, Abby Davis as well. Chris Murphy's going to be joining the team as well for the quarterfinals, and very well deserved as well, Murph, if you are watching. So make sure if you are around, if you are out and about on New Year's Day, can't watch the quarterfinals, listen on TalkSport 2, the Darts on the radio. Trust me, it works. Right, let's talk about. In my opinion, it sounds stupid to say this on the first day of the year, but in my opinion, this is the best day of the darts all year. 4 games, best of 9 sets. It is gonna be mental. It should be It should be a cracker. And now, chat room as well, people who are watching us live on YouTube, get your predictions in, because we're going to talk through all 4 quarterfinals that we're going to have on New Year's Day. We get going at 12:30 p.m. GMT. And we start off with the quarterfinal in quarter number 2. Dimitri Vandenberg taking on Johnny Clayton. This is an interesting one for me. Yes, you're right, Tommy. It is best birthday present. Happy birthday, by the way, Tommy, for New Year's Day. So, Dimmy against Johnny. In some ways, I did think that this could be the quarterfinal. In other ways, I didn't expect that. Obviously, when Rock came through against Clayton, I thought that Rock would get the job done. But there we go. This is a really tight game, I think. This could go either way. And I think it's all going to come down to whether Dimmy can stay around on the outer ring, because we know that playing his A game, the Ferret is going to be there or thereabouts on the outer ring, taking out big out shots.
Yeah. I think it's a really good game. But I do just think that Johnny's playing a little bit too well. And he's peaked at the right time. He wasn't good for a large part of the year. And he wasn't anywhere near what he'd been for the last sort of 18 months, 2 years or so that we'd seen him before that. But we've seen him just gradually get better and better as this year's gone on. And now he looks really good. And I just thought against Rock, where everybody has been talking up Josh and basically almost not giving Johnny a chance in that. And then Josh came out and fired in that first set, and you're thinking, all right, yeah, everyone was right. He hasn't got a chance here. He's just so clinical on the outer ring. I mean, he's averaging over 50% on his doubles, and we're in the quarterfinals. Like, that's just ridiculous at this stage, and he's way above anyone else. I don't think anyone is even near that, and I think that will be the difference in this game, because he'll score well enough that he'll keep up with Dimmy, but he'll finish better than him, and I think that'll do it. And I think he wins 5-3.
Do you know, weirdly enough, I've actually got the same scoreline as you, which means only one thing: Dimitri Vandenberg is going to go and win the game.
Yeah, me and Charlie did this the other day as well, and got nowhere near any of them because we kept picking the same thing.
But the thing is the fact that if you look at the stats as it is right now, Dimmy's played really well, especially the scoring phase of the game. He's been excellent. He just tends sometimes to go a little bit missing, in particular on the doubles. And the Ferret is one of the best double hitters in the game. Like when he won that World Grand Prix, as you mentioned, he had a 50% start and 50% finish rate on his doubles, which is just unheard of. I've got to go 5-3 as well for these reasons that you've already said. HGV says Dimmy 5-4. Lee Seymour's going Johnny Clayton 5-4. Where have we got? Jack Nolte saying Dimmy beats Johnny 5-4. That could be quite good. Clayton 5-3. It's a real toss-up in the chat room for that one, which I think is a fair assessment. I really do, actually. That game could go either way in particular. Right, moving on to quarterfinal number 2. Michael Smith against Stephen Bunting. The St. Helens Showdown is what I'm going to call it. This is a game that, again, I didn't see coming. I didn't see Stephen Bunting definitely getting out of this part of that bottom quarter of quarter 2. But here we are. Normally, I'd say that this should be quite a simple and straightforward win for Michael Smith. I don't think it will be, considering the way the Bullet is playing. But I still think he gets the job done. I think he's going to go to a few deciding legs. And I'm going to say Smith wins this. I'm going to say he wins it 5-2, but it's going to be a lot closer than the scoreline suggests.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this. I've got 5-3 Smith, but the same sort of thing. I think it's one of those games where it could probably 2 legs away from being 5-3 Bunting instead of 5-3 Smith. Like, I think it is going to be that close, and it'll be key shots at the right time. But I just think Michael Smith will be the more clinical when it comes down to it, and will take those chances. But yeah, I think Bunting puts up another really good show.
Yeah, Preston's going 5-3 Smith, 5-2 Smith says Harry, 5-3 says Jack, Tommy says 5-3 as well, 5-4 Smith. And Gob is going 5-2 Ferret and 5-2 Smith. So he's covering his arse there, that one. That's called covering the spread, everybody. G's going 5-3 Smith. I think most people are saying the same thing. I think it's going to be 5-2 or 5-3. I just think that Smith's got that scoring phase particularly. And Bunting's got to be good on the doubles, but I just think in the pressure cooker moments, I'm going to say Michael Smith makes that semi-final. Moving on to the evening session, and we talked about this. I think the reason why people have asked this, why the games are the way they are, certainly on the quarterfinals, about Smith Bunting in the afternoon and Price in Clemens in the evening, is because 2 reasons. 1, you're not putting the world number 1 in an afternoon session for a kickoff,
Nope.
and 2, more importantly, 8:30 on a German night on New Year's Day will get the viewing figures past 2.5 million. So that game could be anything. And with that German crowd, I think, and especially with the way, excuse me, that if Clemens scores the way that he's been doing, I reckon he's got half a chance here.
He's certainly got a chance. He really has. If they don't, between now and the 1st, get some plastic steins in at the Ali Pally, I mean, it just needs to be done. Just got to do it. There's too many Germans there. It's too much of a home game for him. They need to have steins. If you've not got steins, it doesn't count. And some proper beer as well would help.
What are they still got Fosters on tap there?
I'm trying to remember.
Because your lot got Fosters as well, and Strongbow. Like they do it at PDC. It's certainly at Ali Pally. Your lot certainly still have that.
At the old Emirates Old Trafford, at the cricket ground.
Yeah.
We have got Aussie Piss and Wrongbow.
Use it responsibly, everyone.
Yeah, Aussie Piss and Wrongbow. Yeah. I can't remember actually from last year when I was there for the semis.
Amstel at Ali Pally, okay.
Oh, we've got Amstel as well at Emirates Old Trafford. Maybe they just got the same contract.
Yeah. Is it still the Wrongbow goal?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's why I can't remember what the logo was, because I think I looked at it and went, "Nah, you're all right," and I drunk Wrongbow instead.
Fair. All right. Anyway, back to the game.
Anyway, plastic steins. Get plastic steins in, because do some little, charge a couple of quid for them, put a little PDC logo on them, make a fortune. The salesman never leaves you. But I think he plays well, but I think he gets beat, Gabe, because I think we see Gezi up it a little bit again, because he seems to have done that every round so far without still looking great, but I still think it will be enough for him to win this, and he wins it 5-3.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5-2, but in the same breath as Smith Bunting, I think it's going to be a 5-2 that doesn't reflect the scoreline. I think there's going to be more deciding legs here, and because of the experience of Price, and because he'll want that second world title, I think he gets the job done 5-2. As does G Adventures. Harry's going for the whitewash 5-0. I can't see that happening.
No, I can't either. I think Harry's playing too well for that.
Yeah, the crowd's going to help him massively as well, because even the German crowd are nowhere near as bad as the British crowd in terms of booing Price, but even so, they'll give him a good send off. Let me tell you that for now. You were a game behind. Sorry, God. Yeah, you were. Sorry about that, mate. He's gone 5-2 Clayton and 5-2 Smith. Yeah, that's fair enough. Price 5-2 for Jack. HGB's gone 5-1. Tommy's gone 5-2. Lee's gone 5-1. I think most people are pretty similar on this one. Preston's gone 5-3 and Gob's gone 5-2 as well. So we'll move on to the final game then of New Year's Day. It was going to be Michael Van Gerwen against Chris Dobey. And I do think it's a very similar scenario to the previous games. I think it's going to go close in terms of there's going to be a few more deciding legs. I do think that the scoreline will not reflect the game, but I do think that MVG wins this 5-1 because that's the way it is. Like, I remember the World Grand Prix semi-final that he had against Chris Dobey. And of course, you've got to try and take away the double in, double out on that one. But he just didn't look. I appreciate that was the first semi-final that he made and all the rest of it as well. But I just think that MVG is playing outstanding at the moment. And I think that 5-1 is a pretty good reflection of where the game's going to be. But again, it's going to be deciding legs. And I just think that MVG is going to do enough.
Yeah. I don't know.
Ooh.
I'm not so sure, but massive caveat on this.
Mm-hmm.
If Chris Dobey loses the first set,
yes,
this doesn't happen, and MVG wins 5-1 or 5-2 if he gets out in front. But if Dobey wins the first set, he wins this game 5-4. Because he will settle into the game, and I think his scoring will give him enough chances.
Wow. That's a brave statement to make.
Yeah. Dob's gone 5-1 MVG, so it does prove that he does have a number other than 5 or 2 on his keyboard, because literally he's gone 5-2 in every other game.
Yeah. Preston's gone 5-3. Nels is quite rightly pointing out that Dobey's already beaten him this year, which he has done, but he's not in a set play event. I don't believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So can't go against MVG. Close game, but MVG here 5-3. Yeah, most people are going 5-3 as well. And Harry has gone for 5 sets to 2.
Jesus, that's bold from me. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that bold from me. We know I love a bold prediction anyway. I'm never the most.
No. Excalibur, I know the Fighting Irish and the Gamecocks having an absolute barnstormer, which I can't wait to watch in a bit. And Tennessee versus Clemson in the Orange Bowl, and the college football playoff tomorrow night.
Let's talk about the real football playoffs, not the college ones. The National Football League is where we're talking about.
Because we've got to go. No, on a serious...
We've actually managed to do more than me and Gob usually do here, which is some going, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it has been a genuine pleasure being back on the Fallout Bar and seeing you into the new year as well, into New Year's Eve, at least for people in the UK.
We've nearly seen them into the new year, to be honest with you.
We probably will do. Before we do go, actually, what would you take away from this year in darting wise? Let's go with that, actually. What would you take away from this year darting wise? What's been like the moment that you remember most, do you think? What's that? What's the moment that automatically comes to mind?
There's only one for me, and it's that moment of Michael Smith led on the floor, finally having got over the line. That is the overriding moment that sticks with me from this year. It was just really nice to see it. Like, you could see how much it meant. Like, just flat out on the floor, just didn't really even celebrate. It was just relief, and that's the overriding moment for me.
I appreciate it might be a bit of recency bias, but I'll say the 71 from Dirk yesterday, because I think that's probably he's been involved in 2 games of the year. The Ryan Searle game where he averaged 114 over 19 legs is utterly ridiculous. We don't mention him, Paul, on this show.
Yeah, get out.
No, but on a serious note, I don't.
Cullen mismatched darts to win an exhibition. From
Well,
Tommy's.
he did mismatch darts with a glorified expo. There's no doubt about that.
Big fan of that.
But I do think that moment, I think for that 71 to bring to an end, arguably the best match of the tournament. Well, there's no arguably about it. Is the best match of the tournament. And in my opinion, it's up there for match of the year. I mean, the Josh Rock Michael Smith game, the Josh Rock Michael Smith game was utterly ludicrous in the European Championship.
Michael Van Gerwen.
No, in the Euros. He played.
In the Euros. Sorry, I thought you meant the.
Yeah. I mean, the 9-darter in the Grand Slam.
That game was unbelievable as well.
Was ludicrous as well. There was just so many great moments, and it's difficult to put your finger on it. But I'd probably go to 71 purely because of what had happened previously to that.
Yeah,
and in my opinion, and I appreciate it might be a bit of recency bias, but in my opinion, it's the second best game that's ever been played at Ali Pali.
That and Fallon Sherritt back on the big stage at the World Championship.
Well, yeah, let's not go there. Right. Thank you very much, Cam McFarlane, for your company this evening and into this morning. Hope you have a fantastic New Year's Eve, whatever you're doing. And I hope and I do hope that I'm off to Wolves tomorrow, actually, up the Reds. Yes, can't wait.
Right. You had to ruin it. You had to ruin it at the end.
And then college football playoff all night. So it's lovely. Like I say, everybody in the chat room, thank you very, very much for your company as well. And throughout the year, and I'm sure that you've noticed a massive milestone that we've hit. We're not going to say it, obviously, because of course people will know about it. But I'm sure you've noticed a massive milestone that we've hit over the last couple of days. It's been a genuine pleasure and a massive, massive thank you to every single one of you that have watched any bit of our coverage over the World Championships, that have watched any bit of anything that we've done, or listened to anything that we've done on podcasts. Or just come up to us and said hello at events as well. It's been a genuine pleasure. Thanks for your company. Have a great New Year's Eve. We are back on New Year's Day reviewing all the action from quarter-final day, where we will be down to 4 in the race to crown the World Darts Champion. Thanks again to our sponsor, Betfred, as well, for their company. Make sure you check them out if you are going to have a bet on the World Championships. And remember to gamble responsibly if you do. Have a look at their markets. We will see you. Well, I probably won't, but I'm sure Cam probably will with Gob on New Year's Day. Thanks for your company.
There's a good chance it'll be me.
Probably. Take care, everybody. And thanks for listening as well if you're listening on the podcast. This has been the Fallout Bar. Jonathan and Cam McFarlane signing off for another night. And we'll see you in 23. Happy New Year, everybody.